Hello and welcome back. I'm Sean Fox and you're watching another episode of Made to Ramble, and today in Talking Tech we'll be discussing the Panasonic GH5 and its recent firmware update. In particular, we'll be discussing a feature which appears to have gone almost entirely unnoticed. That's the IS lock, and I can tell you right now, it's awesome. While I was in Singapore recently, I had a whole lot of opportunity to try out these new features. And the one that really grabbed me was the IS lock. IS lock is an additional image stabilizing mode. It doesn't replace the earlier in-body image stabilizing, and it doesn't replace the dual stabilizing. It's just one more mode that you can use. Now, I'm personally a big fan of using tripods and monopods. I love the additional stability that you can get from that. Unfortunately, when it comes to travel videography, these can be quite cumbersome items to carry with you. Now, I do carry a travel tripod, which also doubles as a monopod, but the problem is, in a lot of public spaces, it's not always appropriate to bring out a tripod, and it also takes some time to set up. IS lock mimics the appearance of using your camera on a tripod or a monopod, and it does so without cropping into the image, or so it appears. As far as I can tell, this is all done within the in-body image stabilizing system, because as far as I can see, there aren't any of those obvious artifacts that come with using electronic stabilizing, or warp stabilizer. The reason why I believe the IS lock is using specifically the in-body image stabilizing is because it works incredibly well even without stabilized lenses. You don't need dual IS to use IS lock. These images were taken on a Mitakon 25mm 0.95 lens without any stabilization at all. And even with a longer non-stabilized lens, the IS lock is pretty effective. This was taken on the 40 to 150mm Olympus f2.8 at 150mm, which is 300mm equivalent in full frame. One thing I really love about the Panasonic GH5 is having the ability to map just about any feature you could want to its own function button. In this case, function button 1 toggles between IS lock and dual IS. IS lock is not for every situation. If you think you're going to be doing a lot of camera pans and fast camera movements, it's definitely not going to be suited for that. If you pan or move the camera too quickly, it makes the motion look quite unnatural, almost as though you're dropping frames. That said though, you can get away with some degree of motion in your shot, particularly if it's a very careful pan. Now, I do have to talk about the one other feature which I know has already been talked to death, not the 400i, but the autofocus system. Ideally, when it comes to filming vlogs, I prefer to be able to use face detection. Unfortunately, yet again, it doesn't appear to be reliable. For instance, while I was filming this video, the entire time I could see a box around my face indicating that that's where the focus point was. Unfortunately, my face was not always in focus. Now, fortunately, there are workarounds which I'm starting to get the hang of, but I must admit to some disappointment that I still can't use the face detection features. It would have been really handy. Now, I'm sure that there are plenty of questions that people have regarding the new firmware. Questions perhaps regarding the new 400 megabit all-I codec. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to use this yet. It's really hard to justify using up that much space on an SD card while I'm traveling around with limited storage. Hopefully, I may get an opportunity to use it. If I do, I'll let you know how I go. Well, that's about all for now. Thank you very much for watching. I really do hope that this video was informative. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Hope to see you again.